What's going on, everybody? It's Wnba Dfs here to bring you guys another WNBA slate breakdown for the 2-game WNBA slate. Hopefully, if you guys played that 3-game slate yesterday, you were able to adjust to the news of Sabrina being out in the New York Liberty game, stacked heavy on those New York players. We had Jonquel Jones go off for a big day. Breanna Stewart went out there. She had a big day as well. And then the corpse, the rise of the old, I'm not going to call her hag, but the old Dusty Bones, Courtney Vandersloot, went out there and put up 2018 Courtney Vandersloot numbers yesterday. It was definitely stacked the Dallas Wings and New York Liberty type game, because on the other side we had Sachu Sabli. She went out there, had a pretty big day. Arike took her a minute to get there, but she definitely put up a pretty decent number. And then also Natasha Howard went out there and did her thing. But again, it was all about the New York Liberty, depending on who you actually played over here. And really, if you played Sloot and maybe played either JJ or Breanna Stewart, which in the winning lineup, it was Jonquel Jones and Courtney Vandersloot. Like I said, I was going heavy on Stewie, and I knew it. Go with JJ. Just go with JJ. JJ ended up getting all the garbage time running stuff anyway. It went out there and put up a big fantasy scoring night. All in all, the night was not bad at all. The Sparks actually kept it very close with the Sun. Very low scoring total in the game anyway. But if you play Dejanay Carrington, who I did highlight pretty heavy in regards to her actually being able to step up in this type of atmosphere and game. I don't know what the Connecticut Suns were doing in regards to playing around with the starting lineup. Benching Bonner. Why would you bench your top scorer on your team? Have her coming off the bench did not make any sense whatsoever. I understand going ahead and play with the rotations just simply because you are going up against a lower team, a team that is not trying to win. You are a top team. You want to go ahead and adjust those rotations and things before the playoffs happen, but there's definitely better games or better time to actually do something like that. I would not have Wnba Bonner coming off the bench. Maybe there was something going on, but we will not find that information in news. And then the Storm and Mystics game, that was actually really close, and this was a very huge game. And minutes, not even just minutes wise, but just stat wise, for what Shakira also went out there and did in 25 minutes. 24 points, 3 steals, a block, 9 rebounds. Unfortunately, those 8 turnovers, because she's still trying to be a point guard. Still a very good game from her out there. And if Sykes would have just hit a couple more of these shots, she actually would have put up a really good fantasy point number herself. But all in all, not a bad slate, not at all. Hopefully some of you guys were able to make some money, and we're going to try to do the same thing again today with this 2-game slate. If you guys are new here, you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I put out over here on the channel, and drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos have helped you guys win some money. Pretty cut and straightforward slate that we got today. Phoenix Mercury taking on the Atlanta Dream. On the Phoenix side, they are still going to be without Rebecca Allen and Osborne. And news from yesterday, they made a trade. They traded Shook Sutton. Shook Sutton was traded away from them over to the Washington Mystics, and the Phoenix Mercury got the rights to Clara Lindquist. Granted, I would have to do some more digging to understand who Kira is, but obviously they got rid of a player for a player that they're not going to actually have. Maybe this will just open up room for the fact that they did just recently sign Monique Billings to that hardship contract. Maybe they actually might give Monique a roster spot, since technically they're not going to be able to go ahead and get the player that they recently traded the rights for. So maybe that might be the further move that they actually do plan to do, especially which would actually help their bench rotation, especially from the big standpoint, because all you have is Natasha Mack, who goes ahead and draws a ton of fouls whenever she is out there on the court. But definitely interesting that you traded your only backup guard, like your backup point guard. Very strange trade right there. On the other side, the Atlanta Dream, Cheyenne Parker-Tice, if you watched in the first 2 minutes for her being out there on the court, she had a bad ankle sprain, ankle roll that she had to be carted off the court. Definitely she will not be playing for a couple of games, and then AP is still out as well. The starting lineup of Gray Canada, Ryan, Nas Hillman, and Tina Charles has looked and worked wonders out there for them, and it should continue in what should be a decent fast-paced game going up against Phoenix Mercury, who we have been able to attack in certain spots. Next game is the rematch of the Commissioner's Cup. We have the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Las Vegas Aces, and the Lynx actually made a trade as well. They traded for Misha Hines-Allen from the Washington Mystics. They got rid of Olivier Upopi. Who else did they get rid of? They got rid of Kone and also a second-round pick. And the Lynx, they got Misha Hines-Allen. Now, if Misha is going to actually play today, that is definitely up in the air. Hopefully we get some news in regards to that later on in the day. But that definitely, to me, doesn't really change too much over here for the Minnesota Lynx, considering that they have several bigs and several other players that are going to be, I'm not going to necessarily say ahead of Misha, but I wouldn't exactly expect her to come in and just make an impact and take anyone's minutes, especially not from the starters. We already know they're going to play them a decent amount of minutes. Then over for the Las Vegas Aces, no news to report over there for them. Heading on over to DraftKings, the site that I play the most on the site. If you guys don't got an account and you want one, check the link down in the description below so you guys can get that deposit match bonus and join me over here on the King. Right now, we have a $15 10K to first contest over here. Definitely something go ahead, get your lottery tickets and try to go ahead and take down that 10K. DFS, it's worth a shot. So looking at it, the players that we actually have over here for the Phoenix Mercury, of course, going to focus pretty heavy on the starters. With the fact that they got rid of Shook Sutton, when you're looking at it, they have Harrington, Mack, Billings, that's 3 players, Cunningham, DT, Cloud, BG, Copper. If I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much like an 8-woman rotation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A 8-woman rotation, and your guard pool, without Shook Sutton being out there, without Rebecca Allen, you have 4 guards that you're going to be rotating. And all of them are actually in your starting lineup when you're looking at it. So the rotation should be very tight. Definitely am going to want to attack and target some of the Phoenix Mercury, especially as runbacks from some of the plays that we can get over here from the Atlanta Dream. Copper, of course, tops that list. Copper has actually played the Atlanta Dream pretty well in their one game that they have played early in the season. She dropped 40 plus fantasy points in that game. See if that game log actually is up here for us. It is 33 minutes. She dropped 47.5 fantasy points, went and had 38 points in that game. Definitely upside could be here for her again today. We know Copper has been taking quite a bit of shots since they've come back from the Olympics. Had that big blow up game going up against her Chicago Sky and then the Indiana Fever. Came back down to earth the next time she plays Chicago Sky, but definitely a spot for her to get right and go out there. BG's BG. Long as she can go ahead and get it going and active, she can go out there and possibly punish Tina Charles. But Tina Charles has looked definitely invigorated since the Olympic break. Definitely grinder, as long as she doesn't get herself in foul trouble, doesn't get too tired. We know she's going to see roughly about 30-ish minutes. Could be a spot where we can actually put up some decent numbers. Now, I will say Cloud, DT, Cunningham, all these players, not really too interested in them. They're really lower in the pecking order for what I want to get. Diana Taurasi, as always, definitely could be someone that you go to on the slate that has definitely GPP upside. If she can go out here and knock down the shot, she can play make quite a bit. As long as she doesn't go ahead and get herself tossed out of the game, she will give us a pretty decent number. In 30 minutes going up against the Atlanta Hawks early in the season, she dropped 27.25 fantasy points. I definitely do put her a peg below Griner and Copper if I have to choose. And then Cunningham, I know she went out there and she's been pretty much balling, consistent, at least 20 plus fantasy points in all 3 games that they've played since the break. If I land there, 7,500, you got to play something cheap. I don't mind that, and I definitely don't mind taking a chance on Monique Billings in the first game, playing for them 23 minutes, just like what she was doing with the Dallas Wings. She is a energized bunny, a lot of energy off the bench. That's definitely something that you want. I can see why they went ahead and they picked her up. At 7,100, I could take a chance on her, GPP only, especially if I make multiple lines. Going over to the other side for the Atlanta Dream, Canada has finally gotten the respect and the price bump that we figured was going to come for her. Price all the way up from 6,900 all the way to 9K. That's a 2K price difference that she has right here. I'm going to tell you the truth. For that price, really not in the wheelhouse of what I want to pay for Canada. I know that as long as she's scoring, she's going to have the playmaking duty. She can go out there and give us a very, very, very good scoring night. But I will say I would much rather come down here, take the 100 cheaper that I can go ahead and get for Ryan, or take a chance on Alicia Gray, who we know can be pretty consistent whenever she is out there on the court. Playing against the Phoenix Mercury earlier this season, she dropped 41.5 fantasy points in that game. So the upside is definitely there for her going up against an opponent that she's already played. And also as well, Ryan Howard in that game, 39 minutes, she dropped 38.75 fantasy points in that game as well. So either one of the guards over here for the Atlanta Dream, I don't mind over Canada just for the price hike that she has. And we do know the usage should be more focused on Ryan, since she is their star that they have over here, and Alicia Gray. Tina Charles, definitely a play that we can go to. I'm not going to hate it. 9,400 is a bit steep, especially when I have Asia, I have Fee. On the slate, I have BG, other players I would rather get to and go to if I had to choose. But in 27 minutes, she did drop 18.75 fantasy points going up against the Phoenix Mercury. Granted, that was without Brittany Griner, so definitely a different matchup that she is going to see today. Not too high on the pecking order of what I want to actually get to. I will much rather come down to the Ryan Howard or Alicia Gray. Nas Hillman, Cadwell, Haley Jones, Cuba, all places you can go ahead and consider. All GPP options, not nothing that sticks out that you have to get to. Going over to the Minnesota Lynx taking on Las Vegas Aces. Like I said, this is going to be a repeat of what we saw for the Commissioner's Cup. Now you have 2 of the top teams in the league, one of the top defenses in the league, going up against one of the weaker defenses, because we already know the Aces, their route to victory is going to be, we're going to out-offense you. We're going to just beat you like that. Now, one player who has surprised me so far this season in regards to playing going up against the Las Vegas Aces has actually been Caleb McBride, who hasn't had the best logs going up against them in prior seasons, but in the 2 games this season, in 35 and 34 minutes, she dropped 26 and 37 fantasy points. So decent numbers for her, especially for the fact that she's kind of in that mid-tier range at the 8,500 price tag. I don't hate or mind going to her at all if I have to choose in regards to a mid-tier option to go with at the guard position. game. Outside of that, Courtney Williams, you already know that she tends to play up in these type of positions and spots. If you went ahead and you played her when it came down to the actual Commissioner's Cup, then definitely you were in for a treat. In 24 minutes, she dropped 37 fantasy points in that game. Definitely do not mind coming out here, taking the 200 difference between her and Kayla McBride, and going ahead and playing Courtney Williams. Like I said, they're going to need her. They're going to use her. She has been kind of capped right around 20-ish minutes since they have come back from the All-Star and Olympic break. Maybe this could be one of those games where she can go out there and play upwards towards her 30-ish minutes. Maybe, especially if the game is close. She is one of the vets out there on the team, and she's looked pretty aggressive in regards to hunting for a shot. We already know she can go ahead and score over Plum, who typically should be the person that she might get cross-matched up with, because I highly doubt they're going to put Plum on Kayla McBride. That's just barbecue chicken waiting to happen right there. Outside of that, of course, Fee is Fee. Fee in these games, matchups going up against the Las Vegas Aces. So far this season, not really too crazy what she's put up. In 28 minutes in the Commissioner's Cup, she went out there, she dropped 34.5 fantasy points. And then the game before that, in 34 minutes, she dropped 42.75. Again, Fee is Fee. She's an all-star. She's a MVP caliber player. You can definitely get up there to the 11.5. I will say I would much rather just go ahead and find the 2K more that I need to get to go ahead and just play A'ja Wilson, because we already know MVP tier, MVP campaign this season. She's going to go out there and do what she has to do. Now, system play that we normally do go to, Alana Smith at the 9,200 price tag. She did happen to tweak her knee in the last game, so maybe those minutes might still be hovering right around the low 20-minute mark right there. But she is still a fantasy point per minute producer when she's out there on the court. And then the game going up against the Las Vegas Aces early in the season, she did go out there in 26 minutes, drop 33.5 fantasy points. So she's out there cooking like what she was in that game. She definitely could go out here and give us a decent fantasy point production and night. Just got to hope that it actually does happen for us. Outside of that, as always, we can't take a chance on Bridget Carlton if she's knocking down threes, which this could be an offensive back and forth type game. This could be a big day for Carlton. We already know what the upside that she actually brings when she's out there on the court. Then outside of that, really the bench, I'm not too interested, just because they are rotating quite a bit with Heidemann and Lassini, Diamond Miller. And then, of course, if they actually do decide that they want to roll in Misha Hines-Allen, that could be some more minutes that can cut into that bench rotation. Over to the other side for Las Vegas Aces, we already know what it is. It's the main starters, the main players that are going to get the bulk of the minutes. A'ja Wilson is at the top of the pecking order. This is definitely one of those games that I want to go back to Jackie Young, who has been kind of mid-tier since coming back from the Olympic break. In this game going up against Minnesota Lynx, 22 minutes, 13.5 fantasy points. Not really the greatest night for her right there in that game. And then the first game that they did play, well, there it goes, 37 minutes, dropped 42.25 fantasy points in that game. Again, that was without Chelsea Gray in that first game that she played. Chelsea Gray, she did not actually play. Okay, so both of those games are without Chelsea Gray. So the upside for her could definitely be different with Gray being back, and has been looking pretty aggressive when she is out there on the court, trying to get involved on the scoring side. She probably heard a lot of us talking junk about her being in the Olympics, that she did not need to be there because she didn't really bring anything to the table except for turnovers. Outside of going there, can always go with Plum as a GPP option. Not really someone that I'm too high on right here, but if we think this could be an offensive back and forth shootout type game, definitely could be up the alley of Kelsey Plum, especially if she actually is able to get that shot to fall. 35 minutes in that last game going up against the Minnesota Lynx, 24 fantasy points. And then the first game, 36 minutes, 22 fantasy points. Possibly could look to some unders for Plum today. That's definitely going to be on the radar. Like I said, main player we want to get to is going to be A'ja Wilson. Then, of course, safety to me and coming down to Jackie Young. Both those players are going to be there. GPP option of Tiffany Hayes and Alicia Clark off the bench. Other than that, no one else over here is going to be a focus. Today really kind of looks like a either fade or go very light, just because the games kind of do look ugly when you look at it from the surface level. Definitely maybe focus some more on some props or mix and match. Just don't go too heavy on anything. We of course have more games coming up throughout the week. Definitely some money to be made in some of those. So good luck to everybody playing. Hopefully you guys got something from the video. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Peace.